Okay. So I apologize for that network breach. Now we are back on track. So without much ado, let us get down to today's business. I hope everybody can hear me, please. Hello, I believe everyone can hear me.
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
sir.
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that confirmation. Thank you. So without much ado, let us get down to today's business. So we all know we are here for the webinar today. Now, the topic is the market square of social media, navigating defamation, misinformation, and the legal implications of cybercrime. And to be taking us on this topic is no other person than Mr. Eminem, or Barrister Eminem. Pardon me for that mistake, please. Barrister Eminem Akponuko. He's a legal practitioner, a compliance expert, and an human rights activist who has vast experience in litigation, activism, and advocacy. He is currently the senior associate at Grant Thornton, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I welcome Mr. Eminem, Barrister Eminem, rather, Akonuko, to take us on today's topic, market square of social media, navigating defamation, misinformation, and the legal implications of cybercrimes. Mr. Eminem, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Please, can someone confirm they can hear me? I'm not echoing. Everything's clear. Can someone do
Yes,
that
sir.
for me?
Yes, sir.
Can hear me? All right. So my host, my name is Emine Akpanuko. It doesn't matter if it's Mr. It doesn't matter if it's a barrister, although barrister is not really a title of choice. So you are right in any case. It's a pleasure to be here, and I thank you and I thank Daniel Chambers for
Okay, I'm so
doing
sorry for
this.
that
Because in today's
misinterpretation, the
society,
mispronunciation.
no, I don't have an issue. I'm just saying my name the way it ought to be. Thank you very much for having me. So I thank you so much for, firstly, for this idea of educating members of the public, because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation making the rounds. A lot of people are ignorant, not just of their rights, but also of their obligations. And like we very well know, ignorance of the law does not excuse. So it's very important that we continue to lend our voices to educate members of the public, especially as it has to do with the social media. But we all know the social media has come to stay. The internet has come to stay. We're benefiting a lot from it. Thank you also for choosing me to handle this topic. I mean, there are a lot of persons who have gone through, they decided to choose me and give me this platform and give me this opportunity to handle this topic. Thank you very much, and God bless all your efforts. Without much ado, the market square of social media, and we'll be navigating defamation, looking at misinformation, and most importantly, we'll be looking at the legal implications of cyber crimes under the Cyber Crimes Act of Nigeria. Once again, my name is Eminem Apanpo. Let's have a good one. At the end of this talk, you should have been able to understand how the social media is a market square. I don't need to be moving with my slides. I'm looking at the table of contents now. You should be able to understand how the social media is a market square. And then moving away from that, you should be able to understand defamation, not just defamation in itself, but how defamation occurs in the digital age, right? Then we look at misinformation as well as disinformation. Is there a difference? What are the effects? Are the effects the same? Then move into the crux of the matter. Cyber crimes generally and cyber crimes in Nigeria, especially as provided for under the Cyber Crimes Act of Nigeria. By the time we are done X-raying that act, we'll be able to give recommendations and then conclude. So already, as a teaser, as a form of introduction, we should move now to the introduction. The slide after introduction, yes, the next one. Over 5.2 billion people use the social media. And this number is still growing. That accounts for 65% of the global population. Almost everyone is using the social media. And we are being observant. Our parents that used to complain that we press phones a lot, they are the ones on Facebook the most these days. They are the ones on WhatsApp forwarding messages left, right, and center. That shows you how prevalent social media is in today's world. Of course, chances are very high that you heard about this webinar on social media. Right? If I want to start asking, how did you get to hear about this training session? Chances are very high that it was on social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, maybe LinkedIn. And there are a lot of them. The world is growing, the world is expanding. Social media is fast replacing the traditional marketplace. So, you know, in this digital market square, just like we have bad marketers and bad businessmen in the traditional markets, we also have bad marketers and bad members of the social media. That's what I mean by the media space attracts both honest merchants and less honorable merchants. This is a crowded place here. You're going to see a lot of things. You're going to see a lot of things, the good, the bad, the ugly, every kind of things you see. You're going to hear voices that will inspire you. You hear voices that will entertain you. You hear voices that will motivate you. You also hear the voices that will enjoy you. Right? So it is good that we learn how these things come up, how these things relate with legal principles, renowned legal principles. For instance, defamation. What is defamation? We are going to know about that. But first, let's appreciate how the social media is a marketplace. Social media, facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through virtual networks and communities. Because there are a lot of them. There are social networks, Facebook, Threads, Twitter, a lot of them. There are also messaging platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. There's also LinkedIn, professional development, professional networking, ResearchGate. If you check the slide, I don't know if this will be shared to our participants so that I can, the slide is quite informative. There are a lot of them. In fact, I'm sure that you are here, that you are listening to me now. You even know these social media platforms more than myself, the speaker. All right. Social media is not always bad anyway. Social media accounts for over 200 million small businesses. Just on Facebook, there are over 200 million small businesses. All right. Now it's paying creativity because you are creative. Social media will pay you. TikTok will pay you, right? Because you are creative and post it there. So it's reducing crime because people are now gainfully employed, gainfully engaged. It's providing employment. It is helping people to express themselves, to be creative. Remember that I said, as a way of applauding social media, I've looked at how it is helping businesses to grow. That's accounted for over 200 million small businesses. That's just on Facebook alone. You want to look at Instagram, want to move over to TikTok, then it's a different ballgame entirely. It is helping people to be expressive. Social media also creates awareness and education. For instance, what we are doing today is on social media. You didn't have to go and rent a hall for us to be able to educate you and enlighten you. That is one of the benefits of social media. But then there are also things on the flip side, like false information. People spread rumors to injure others, to injure businesses, for whatever reasons, disinformation. Then person-centered ills. People get bullied, right? People get exploited, people get harassed, people get injured psychologically. There are reports of people committing suicide due to bullying online. Then you also run the risk of contravening provisions of the law. So these are negative parts of social media. Let's start off with defamation. Remember our topic. We are looking at how social media is a marketplace. Social media is a market square. And then this market square on social media, which you have seen, very good. How do we navigate defamation? That's what we are starting now. Defamation in the digital age. All right. So, insofar as you have a right of expression, another person has a right to a clean reputation. Insofar as you have a right to express yourself, another person has a right to a clean reputation. There is no property that is as costly. There's no property that you own that is as costly as your reputation. As your reputation. That is why the law protects your reputation. The law that protects your reputation is called the law of defamation. This law is both criminal and also civil. Yeah. So defamation at its core. Defamation means any communication. I'm on slide 10. So we can carry people along. Say that again. Is someone saying something?
By tenants.
Sorry, sir, your slide is not moving. Although you're talking, we cannot follow with the slides.
Oh, I'm not the one moving the slides. My host is
So-
moving the slides.
Oh, okay. We still have the slide on today, but it appears you moved past
All
that part.
notice.
Okay. My host,
Not
move
required.
the slides for the purpose of my listeners.
Even under the term of this tenancy
All right. So this slide is talking about the social media,
shall be
the different types of
lighting.
social media,
Of this
different
tenancy.
groups. This is the one looking at. This is the slides that's talking
Shall
about the
be
benefits
writing.
and also the risks involved
Shall
in social media.
Right.
Who's joining me in
And
facilitating
If
this?
addressed.
My host. Are we two facilitators?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm with you, sir.
No. Someone also facilitating, so I can know my co-facilitator.
And
Or you ask
if
the person to mute.
addressed.
Okay. Yes, someone's mic is unmuted. I think that's Kolawole. Kolawole, please, if you can hear me, can you help us mute your mic, please?
Can beg the person for me. Beg, they are begging.
Okay, thank you very much.
That done. So defamation in the digital age, that is what I was trying to introduce to you. Move on to the next one, please. Next one. No. You have gone too far. You have gone too far. Yes. That's exactly where I am. That's exactly where I am. So I don't know if I have to go over explaining to you how important your reputation is. Your reputation is actually very important. And I did tell you that there is no property you own which is as costly as your reputation. Even the Bible mentions that. That is why the law has taken active steps. Please, can someone confirm they can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So sorry for the brief interruption. So yes, your reputation is actually very important. That is why the law gives it two-factor authentication. It is protected under civil law and also protected under criminal law. So what is defamation? It's basically when someone uses speech to injure the reputation or character of another person. Please, can someone help me unmute? Who else is facilitating this lecture?
I think it was Miss Scarlett with the voice.
I'm really distracted.
All right.
Who be that?
Hello?
Right, Jones.
All
We
right.
are with you.
So
We are
thank
with
you
you.
very much. Yes. Any speech that is targeted or that is capable or actually injures the character and reputation of another person can be described as a defamatory speech. Could either be libel. Okay, let me start from slander. That's the easiest part. When you use your speech, oral, that's called slander. This slide is on misinformation. I've not gotten to misinformation. It can also be libel when it is contained in a more permanent form. So the element of defamation is there's a defamatory statement. There's a statement that is targeted at injuring another person's reputation. A statement that is capable of making right-thinking members of the society to shun and avoid another person. Yes. It doesn't include abuse. Maybe let's say we are quarreling and I abuse you. It's not part of it. You are a fool. Vulgar abuse is not part of defamation. Then it was shared publicly. So let's say I'm discussing with you in the conference room where I am now, and then I make some remarks which injure your reputation. You, man, you carried it and went to Facebook to go and publish it. You are the one that published it by yourself. Core and integral, very important element for defamation to have occurred. The statement must have been defamatory, and then it must have been published. It must have been made public. It must have been shared with the public, whatever the format. Then it clearly refers to the specific person. It should not be spoken. It's not a word that refers to. It's not general. Maybe I come out and say, Yoruba people are dirty. Igbo people are thieves. No, it's not defamation. It must refer to you. You, Chukwebuka, you are a thief. You, Adeola, you are that. You can take it up from there. Then you must actually prove damage. It has caused some form of damage. Damage must not actually, it must not always be financial damage. It could be emotional damage. It could also be financial. So there are different ways. It could be a tweet, it could be a TikTok, it could come in different ways. So that is basically that about defamation. So what can you do when you are defamed? Okay, let me say, what could happen if you defame someone? You could be sued for damages, and then an injunction can be gotten against you. You could be reported. On social, your account could be closed down. But most importantly, if the matter gets to court, then you're going to pay some huge sums in damages. But then you have defenses. Justification of truth. All right, if I call you a thief and I actually have a court judgment to back up the claim that you're actually a thief or you're an ex-convict, then what I'm saying is true. Then that is always the chief defense to defamation. There are also fair comments that are made in maybe in some certain settings, let's say in a parliament, let's say in a court, let's say in the police station, someone that is performing a judicial duty, and they came to make some statements. Those comments are called fair comments. Sorry, not that's privilege, absolutely unqualified privilege. Fair comments. Now, when a person is occupying, the public office, then we can make comments. On this person. You can give an opinion, your personal opinion. So I can make an opinion that Tinubu is not a good president. That's my opinion. He's not doing well. I can say that, and nobody will say I've defended him. That's a fair comment. I can also make a comment that you can't call someone a thief anyway, but you can give an opinion, just an opinion. That's called a fair comment. any statement of opinion, not a false fact. I keep repeating it. You are a thief. It's not an opinion. So that's that. So you have to be very careful when you are retweeting, when you are sharing false content. Don't worry, by the time we get to Cyber Crimes Act, you are going to see the level of culpability, the level to which the law ascribes liability for some of the actions which we take. And ignorance is not an excuse. All right, let's keep going on. Let's look at misinformation and disinformation. All right. The key element of misinformation, just give me a moment, let me take my slide there. Yes. Misinformation refers to false or inaccurate information which is spread unintentionally, often due to error, misunderstanding, or a lack of verification. So sometimes you genuinely believe that the content that you are sharing is true. The type that our parents share on WhatsApp. Do you know that Mr. V table water contains sugar? And then they share it. Do you know that this water is called diet water, contains 0 calories? You know, misinformation. Genuinely, unintentionally, you are spreading false information, but you genuinely believe it's true. While disinformation involves false or misleading information that is deliberately fabricated and disseminated with malicious intent. You have the intention to deceive members of the public, sway their opinion, cause harm. You know that this is not true. So that is the difference between misinformation and disinformation. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. But in any case, whether or not it is intentional or unintentional, intentional in disinformation, unintentional in misinformation, the effects are the same. We have erosion of public trust. We have political instability. We have political instability. We have public health and safety risk, social unrest and division. We have high economic impacts and the national security implications. If you look at my slides, political instability. Look at during the elections, some people publishing fake election results. Now I'm unaligned right now for the purpose of this lecture. I'm unaligned. But once you publish fake information, give it to the public, and then at the end of the day, INEC announces another result. What do you think the public is going to believe? The public is going to believe that INEC is corrupt, and this could actually lead to breakdown of law and order. And people do not trust the system. Erosion of public trust, for example, is happening in the courts. With what the media is doing today, every opportunity I have, I share this story of how my cousin visited his friend, or let me not say his friend, a neighbor. Had some popular neighbors that used to come around in New York, and they would go there over the weekend to charge phone with other friends, charge phones. This neighbor was a businessman according to him. The knowledge he had was that this neighbor was a businessman in the East, and then would often come to you on weekends. You know, as a big neighbor now, a guy too will come around to your house, charge phones, you know, watch football, play games. Not until one evening they were watching football, the police raided the place, and arrested everybody. When they got to the police station, they discovered that that neighbor was actually a kidnapper in the East. Cut the long story short, they paraded all of them, including my cousin, who had no idea that he never stolen in his life, but he was paraded along with the kidnapper with guns and charms. So by the time you see the pictures online, and you presume that this guy is actually a kidnapper, only for eventually the cops does the job they are supposed to do and is set free. You lose trust in the system.
General don't see. General thought one time. When he come tell me, I come for general.
Dr. Julio, please, can you help us mute your mic?
Yeah.
Dr. Julio.
You see the person. You can meet the person.
Okay, when we are still begging those people
Now when I
to
inform him,
mute their mics,
You can mute anybody.
can we attempt this quiz? There will be a giveaway at the end. Can we attempt this quiz? I would love to see you in the chats. I would love to see your thoughts in the chats. And I'll actually reward those who attempt this. But I would love to move to the next slide. Please, can we try and mute our mics? Can we try? It's really distracting. Now, I was telling a very interesting story. I was heading somewhere. Now I've lost track of my thoughts. Anyway, I was trying to explain to you how people lose, trust in the system due to misinformation, due to disinformation, due to fake news. A lot of people believed, starting from, let's just look at the election procedure, the election process. I don't know if the elections were rigged or not, but the fact that we think the election was rigged, the media fed us this, we don't know if it's true, maybe it was false, then imagine how that false information has destroyed the trust which we have in INEC. Now, imagine how much trust is left in the judiciary. Let's say the judiciary is to decide, the fate of that election. And the judiciary had to decide based on the facts, the evidence presented to it. I mean, so much false information in the media, on social media, makes people to lose trust in the system, which is not good. All right. Am I seeing attempts? Are people attempting? All right, I see someone has said the last slide, the last on Instagram is disinformation. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we are moving on to looking at how the Cybercrimes Act of Nigeria has responded to the market square of social media, the crimes, the acts of defamation, misinformation, and disinformation. How has the Cybercrimes Act responded? Cybercrimes Prohibition Prevention Act 2015. This act actually provides an effective, unified, and comprehensive legal, regulatory, and institutional framework for the prohibition, prevention, detection, prosecution, and punishment of cyber crimes in Nigeria. Now, I cannot go through everything from section 1 to the last section, but I will highlight some of the important sections, some of the sections that I think are very important for my listeners. Then we'll look at them together. Sometimes I'll read from the act so that you can have an idea. Next slide, please. Thank you. I'm pulling up the act now. All right. Section 6 is on hacking, unauthorized access to vital offenses against critical national information and infrastructure. Any person who, without authorization, unintentionally accesses in whole or in part a computer system or network for fraudulent purposes and obtain data that are vital to national security will commit an offense and shall be liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of no more than 5 years or to a fine of no more than 5 million naira, or both fines. Is simplified in my slide. Once you hack or you have unauthorized access to any computer that contains vital national security items, then you are liable on conviction to 5 years imprisonment or 5 million, or even the both. Go over to section 8. Meanwhile, section 7, I discovered something while making this research. Because we have a lot of laws in Nigeria, and I think most of the laws in Nigeria exist in their disobedience. Section 7 makes it important, makes it compulsory to register a cyber cafe. So anybody that is operating the business of the cyber cafe, you have to register with Computer Professionals Registration Council. You must not only register with the Computer Professionals Registration Council, you must of course have registered with CSC for starters. So you see, in Nigeria, a lot of people, once you have 2 laptops, you open up a place, you formulate a name, and start operating a cyber cafe, not knowing that on conviction, you can be liable to a fine of 2 million naira or 3 years imprisonment, or both, if it is shown that your cyber cafe was used for fraudulent purposes. And you connive. So section 8 now, interference, you disrupt, that's like cyber attack. Any person who unlawfully, without lawful authority, intentionally or for fraudulent purposes, does an act which causes direct or indirect serious hindering of the functioning of the computer, definitely cyber attack. By imputing, you transmit, damage, delete, alter, or you suppress computer data on conviction, 5 million naira or 2 years imprisonment. Section 14. I'm taking it because I would love you to hear exactly what the law says. Section 14 on computer-related fraud of any kind. Any person who knowingly and without authority or in excess of authority causes any loss of property to another by altering, erasing, imputing, or suppressing any data held in any computer, whether or not for the purpose of conferring any economic benefit on himself or another person, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of not less than 3 years or a fine of not less than 7 million naira. It could also be both. Hang on for me as I move to the next section. Section 13 targets computer-related forgery. It prohibits any form of computer-related forgery, punishes it with 3 years imprisonment or 1 million naira fine, or even the both. Section 14 addresses computer-related fraud, like I already said, where loss of property occurs, 3 years imprisonment or 7 million naira, or both. Now, moving over to section 18, cyber terrorism. This is a very important section because a lot of people have been complaining that this particular section is against their human rights. I actually did study it, and I think it's a very large section. It is a section that can be dragged to fit any scenario. That is one of the ways we can critique it. But it's important that you know and know your rights and know your obligations under this law. Section 18 of the Cyber Crimes Act concerns itself with cyber terrorism. Terrorism here under the section 18 is as provided for under the Terrorism Act 2011. So what is terrorism under Terrorism Act 2011? Terrorism Prevention Act 2011. Under the Terrorism Act, any act which is deliberately done with malice, aforethought, and which may seriously harm or damage a country or an international organization, and is intended to unduly compel a government to perform or abstain from performing some acts, or seriously intimidate a population, or otherwise influence a government or international organization by intimidation or coercion. Listen, terrorism. Terrorism Act is saying that any act done with malice or aforethought, which may seriously harm or damage a country or international organization for the purpose of compelling the government or that international organization to abstain from doing something or doing something, Any act that is targeted at seriously intimidating a population is called what? Terrorism. Another thing that is covered by terrorism under the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011, any act that involves or causes an attack upon a person's life and destruction of public facility, any act done with malice and aforethought, which involves or causes an attack upon a person's life or destruction of public facility. So let's say you're using your phone to write statements or to galvanize support or to lead a protest or to lead people. And it actually causes an attack upon a person's life, or it actually leads. You must not even attack the person by yourself. Let's say by your post, you cause another person to attack another person. That's an act of terrorism. Or you cause another person, or you cause a group of people to destroy public facility. It is called terrorism under the Terrorism Prevention Act, and which is mentioned under Section 18 of the Cybercrimes Act. How is it punished? It's punished by life imprisonment. Section 22 of the Cybercrimes Act imposes a duty on any user of a computer or network, whether private or public, to inform relevant authorities of any attacks, intrusions, and disruptions that may hinder the functioning of another computer system or network. I think this is another very wide one. I think this is a very ambiguous and verbose one, because it imposes a duty on any user of it, and even goes ahead to mention whether it is private or public. If you suspect that there is any attack or intrusion that may hinder the functioning of another computer system, you must report to relevant authorities, and you must do so within 7 days. Failure to do so is punishable by a fine of 2 million. It begs the question as to what threats can I actually report to relevant authorities? If there's an attack on my system, and I think it's going to attack, like this attack may affect my friend, Temitayo, who's living in the next room, am I now under compulsion to report to Nigerian authorities? To what extent can this law be dragged? Well, it has not yet been challenged in any court. I am just here to bring it to your notice that there's a law like this. Cybercrimes Act Section 21. It's a duty on any user of a computer, whether it is a private computer or it's a public computer. You must inform relevant authorities of any attacks, intrusions, or disruptions that may hinder the functioning of another computer system or network. Failure to do so within 7 days is punishable by a fine of 2 million naira. Section 22. All right, identity theft and impersonation. Any form of identity theft and impersonation, 7 years imprisonment and a fine of 5 million naira. Section 23 addresses child pornography and related offenses. Listen, no, by child pornography and related offenses, producing child pornography is one arm. Now, offering and making available is another arm. Now, distributing it is another arm. What is child pornography? Ask yourself, what is child pornography? Because there's a trend on social media now, on X. I have the video. I have the video. I have the video. Which video? I involve a child and you transmit it. The law says it is punishable by 10 years imprisonment and a fine of 20 million naira. It could be both. Section 23 sub 2 provides against knowingly making and sending pornography of any kind. This is unsolicited distribution of pornographic items. Unsolicited distribution. I'm sitting on my own. You just send me pornography. When you are caught and then you are prosecuted and convicted, you can be sentenced to imprisonment for 1 year and pay a fine of 250,000 naira. Section 23 sub 3 provides against grooming a child for sexual activities, because some people now on social media, Just chat with people. Probably you don't even care to know their age. Sometimes you care to know their age and you know, oh, this person is 17 and a half. But you continue to talk with them sexually. You groom them for sexual activities. Now, this is punishable by varying jail terms and fines, depending on whether you use threat, depending on whether you used intimidation, and also depending on whether you used an office. Let's say you're a lecturer, you use that your office, to groom a minor for sexual purposes. So there are various other provisions. Section 24 on cyber stalking. Any person who knowingly or unintentionally sends a message or other matter by means of computer system that is grossly offensive. Listen, grossly offensive. How do you define what is grossly offensive? Subject to interpretation. Pornographic, of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character, or causes any message or matter to be sent, which you know to be false. This is where disinformation comes in. Any person who knowingly or intentionally sends a message which you know to be false for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, insult. Listen to how large these items are. Listen to how large these items are. When you send a matter for the purpose of, it's false, for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, insult, injury, criminal intimidation, enmity, hatred, ill will, or needless anxiety to another, or causes such a message to be sent. This is a very large provision. Whenever I send a false message, for instance, you are quarreling with your girlfriend, you are two girls, two female friends, you are quarreling. So you decide to send false information through a false account, to the boyfriend or to the fiancé of that your friend. What have you done? You have injured that person. Probably because of hatred, ill will, enmity, you have published false information, disinformation. On conviction, you'll be liable to imprisonment for 3 years. Something that you were doing probably for cruise, just to get back at someone. If the law does what it's actually supposed to do, you could go away for 3 years. Or if you have 7 million naira, you could pay. But the judge will actually convict you and sentence you to 3 years, and you actually still pay the fine of 7 million naira. So we have to be very careful with the information that we are putting forward on social media. Be careful of what you are sharing. Be careful of the information you are putting out there. Section 24 sub 2, any person who knowingly or unintentionally transmits. Listen, the first one was doing it by yourself. Now, knowingly or unintentionally transmitting or causing the transmission of any communication through a computer system or network to bully. When you are trying to bully, you are threatening, you are harassing another person, where such communication places another person in fear of death, violence, or bodily harm. You send this information to another person. You transmit this message to another person. You've asked yourself a question. Am I sure I'm not bullying somebody? By the time you're catching cruise, and me, I don't agree for anybody. Bass blows. Are you sure you're not threatening somebody? Are you sure you're not harassing somebody? Somebody has posted a picture. You do not like. Why not avoid commenting? That your negative comment. Are you sure you're not bullying somebody? Are you sure you're not harassing somebody? Are you sure you're not? Anyway, there's no need to overemphasize this thing. The truth is this. Section 27 of the same Act provides that aiding, abetting, conspiring, or procuring another person to commit any of the offenses that I just mentioned. That you aid somebody. Let's say my very good friend Temitayo wants to bully another person. I aid him. I help him. I conspire with him. I'm not the one that posted, though. He's the one that posted. But I helped him by whatever way. If it is proven that I helped him, or I gave him somebody, I gave him a hacker. I provided him with a hacker that could hack another person's system. I am as guilty as the principal offender, and the punishment is same as the primary crime, as the principal crime. Now, the cyber crimes also imposes diverse obligations on financial institutions and internet service providers. Some of them are keeping checklists, some of them are keeping registers, especially internet service providers. You may think they do not know you, they are monitoring your traffic. When push comes to shove, my dear, you will unmask you. When push comes to shove, you will find Facebook and tell them to show us who actually owns this account. The Cyber Crimes Act provides for that. In any case, we still have problems with the Cyber Crimes Act. Jurisdictional issues. Can you move to the next slide? Yes. Jurisdictional issues, especially, in fact, one of the key elements of the social media as a marketplace is that there's no boundary, there's no territorial limitation, there's no territorial limitation. So I could be here and order goods from China. I could be here, chat with someone in Indonesia. I could be here and I'm chatting with someone in Iran, in Israel. So what happens if someone in Israel bullies me in Nigeria? What happens if someone in Iran harasses me in Nigeria, or I am the one harassing somebody in the US? What happens if someone in India is breaching the provisions of the Nigerian Cyber Crimes Act? So already there are jurisdictional issues that cause for serious consideration. Another very key element of social media as a marketplace is the possibility of anonymity. Not everybody is willing to go on social media and put in their real names. Like my name is Emini Abanko, and I'll write my name, Emini Abanko. Some people are calling themselves Miss Berry, Miss Hot Fire, Miss Cherry, Mr. Fine Boy, or whatever name, which means there is no proper way of tracing this person. Sometimes they go as far as using false pictures of, they could actually set law enforcement agents on a wild goose chase where someone actually downloads my pictures, actually downloads a database of my pictures, has like over 200 of them, because the way social media is now, I have actually uploaded my pictures there. Every time I eat, I upload it on Facebook. Every time I go to the toilet, I put it on Instagram. And he actually takes all my pictures and moves over to X and creates a new account with my name and is uploading my pictures there and acting as me. Meanwhile, it's a different person. So that's a very serious cause for concern. The possibility of anonymity, the possibility of using pseudocodes. Yes, it's a cause for concern. Then the lack of effective digital forensic capacity. We are really lagging behind. As a country, do we really have the facilities to trace how many law enforcement agents, like how many law enforcement bodies have the capacity to trace phones, phones, the whole phone? It's a problem. It's a problem. We are really lagging behind. We are not moving as fast as the modern world is moving. But the social media has reached Nigeria. The negative parts of social media has reached Nigeria. But law enforcement is not moving in the same length or in the same speed. Yes, in the same speed. Right. There are also ambiguous provisions that are like the one I mentioned. I think it's very ambiguous, and it is far-reaching to say anybody who suspects that an attack on a system may affect another system close by should report to relevant law enforcement agencies. It's far-reaching. To what extent can that law be dragged? How far can we go with that law? So how do we balance the rights? How do we really balance the rights? A person's right to freedom of expression, you balance it. How am I injuring you? I'm expressing myself. I mean, these things are open to interpretation. I'm only expressing myself, but you're saying I'm harassing you. For instance, I've noticed something about myself. Whenever I get in the mood, maybe I'm arguing, people say, no, you're shouting on me. No, I'm not shouting. This is the tone of my voice. I'm just trying to make a point. And people say, no, you're shouting on me. Don't shout on me. No, I'm not shouting. It's just the tone of my voice. I'm just trying to pass a message. So how do we balance the fact that I'm trying to communicate a point here, and you're saying I'm harassing you, and you're saying I'm injuring you? I mean, that's where the courts come in. And that is where the courts have to do their duty. They have to perform their judicial function, balancing the rights of an individual, their fundamental rights, freedom of expression, another person's right to an untarnished reputation, another person's right to privacy, another person's right to not be injured, another person's right against harassment, another person's right against bullying. So implementation is another one. Like I mentioned, I rightly noted, the Cyber Crimes Act makes wholesome provisions on cyber cafes registering with CSE first and foremost before registering with the professional computer operators or whatever it must be running for in that law. How many cyber cafes? The one on your street, is it registered? Do they even have a business name? The one on your street. Now, since they don't have a business name, who has gone there to implement the Cyber Crimes Act? Some of us are very wicked. If you just go on the streets of social media and then you open the comment section, let's take for instance Mrs. Nkubi, who is married to a dwarf. The man is a dwarf. That's not an insult, and I'm not harassing him. Of course, he's a dwarf. But you see the comments that people make there, harassing these people, bullying these people. Who has actually taken time out? What has law enforcement done? Even when you talk of implementation, who has gone to report? No one has gone to report. So over to recommendations now. If you are moving with me, can you move? So we can round up. I really wish we could share this material with, I wish they could drop their emails. In fact, you can drop your email. You can drop your email with me. I'll take my time and send you this material via your mail because I think you need to really look at it. So recommendations, I'm on recommendations. Yes. So we need to have legal and regulatory reforms. Legal in the sense that, like I mentioned, some parts of that law, they are very verbose and they are far-reaching. We need to reform that. Regulatory reforms, the regulatory agencies have to be equipped too. Some of these agents working in these law enforcement agencies do not know how to convert a Word document to PDF. They don't know how to join Google meetings. They don't know how to use Zoom. But those are the people you expect to enforce the Cyber Crimes Act. How possible is that? How possible is that? So we need to have robust reforms, as well as robust international cooperation, because like I said, social media, internet, there's no territorial limitation. So, and if you must work, you cannot say you enforce the Nigerian Cyber Crimes Act in UK. You must collaborate. You must collaborate. So we must have partnership with other countries. So where they enforce their law on their nationals and we enforce our laws on our nationals. Exactly. I already explained number 3. Number 1, you must strengthen enforcement and judicial capacity in this area. You know, they know how to combat kidnapping. They know how to combat armed robbery. Well, I don't know if they are doing a good job as regards that, especially look at Boko Haram and what is happening in Plateau and also Benue. I don't know if they are even doing a good job as regards that. The one thing is clear, they are doing a terrible job. In fact, they think that fighting cyber crimes involves stopping people that are on dreadlocks and searching their phones. That's all it is to fighting cyber crimes. They're not doing a good job at all. So we need to strengthen their enforcement capacity. Then Enhance responsibility. Platform responsibility, of course. Yes, who is asking a question? Is that a question? Can I mute myself so you can ask the question? So we need to hold these platforms. We need to hold these platforms to responsibility. Facebook, Telegram, most especially. A lot of things go on Telegram. Anything happens there. You send things anyhow. I mean, there's no checks. There are no checks there. No proper checks and balances on some of these social media platforms. I like what WhatsApp is doing now, to be able to check some of these crimes. So what I'm trying to say is we must have an enhanced platform responsibility. And then what we are doing now, we must have more of it. Public education and digital literacy must have a lot more so that people can know their rights. Most importantly, know their obligations, because that video that you're about to send to your friend because you think it's funny, that post that you're about to share on Facebook for cruise could actually land you in prison. You could actually be resting somewhere in a cell. So you have to regulate yourself. Before you send out anything, ask yourself a question. Am I sure I'm not contravening the Cyber Crimes Act? Am I sure I am not defaming somebody? Am I sure I am not misinforming the public? Am I sure this is not disinformation? And please, let us support the victims. Let us support the victims. Let's stop this idea of you see the first person that is on social media, and when you come on Facebook, you must develop a thick skin. It's more insult that they insulted him now. What of the one that they have been insulting, very dark man? The very dark man die. What of this one that they insulted, Blessing CEO? The Blessing CEO die. Can't you have to be strong on Facebook? Yeah, TikTok is not for children. Twitter is for serious people. You must be ready for it. Don't gaslight the victims. Don't find yourself gaslighting the victims, because these are very serious issues. A lot of people commit suicide due to harassment on social media. A lot of people kill themselves. Yes. So they have far-reaching consequences. So we must increase the support for victims. And that is the last recommendation I have here. Please move to the next slide. So, in conclusion, social media is very important as a market square. In fact, it is fast replacing the traditional market square. If I needed a bed, just go online. You find it. In fact, the way the social media is configured now, it's almost as if they hear your thoughts. Once they perceive it that you need a particular thing, they start advertising it to you. I'm sure you know this. So it's very, very important. But this space contains a lot of risks, potentials for harm, which is what we have discussed, talking about defamation, misinformation, and then the risks which we have under the Cyber Crimes Act 2015. So please, before you do anything, think. Before you do anything in this marketplace, as you are buying and selling, not only goods, you are buying and selling opinion, you are selling your opinion to others, you are buying the opinion of other people, selling ideas, you are buying ideas. As you are doing this, as you are engaging in this market square, think, verify your information. Especially in this age of AI, you just see AI and then you are sharing it. You are sharing it, you are distorting information. This is either misinformation or disinformation, and they carry legal consequences. Know your rights, know your responsibilities under the Cyber Crimes Act, under the law of defamation. Remember that information is both criminal and civil, gives rights to both civil obligations and criminal obligations. Use your influence to educate and protect others. And above all, let's all trade. Let's embrace the social media that's come to stay. So trade, keep trading, and let's have fun while doing that. Thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Emine Akwanko, and I hope you enjoyed your stay here.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Emine. It was really an informative and educative section. So we have come to the end of this section now. So right now we'll start taking questions, but to do it in an orderly manner, everyone should, if you have questions, you can just type them on the chat. Then we'll pick them and read it out to everyone here so that we can get our answers. So let the questions start coming in. Like I said earlier, if you have questions, please type them on the chat and we'll read them out here for everyone to hear and we get our answers.
Okay, I see a question. There's a question here on oh, I've missed that question, but there was a question on Telegram. Someone needing clarification, more clarification on
Okay, yes.
Telegram. Yeah,
Yes.
I've missed that. Okay, yes.
Yes.
About the Telegram of the thing, I need more clarifications. Well, I'm not a computer guru. I am not a social media guru. But one thing I know for sure is that for starters, there's regulation. There appears to be some form of pornographic regulation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yes, but on Telegram, it is anything goes. Just send anything as you feel like sending. Send it, it will go. It will go. I've noticed that about Telegram. So we need to hold them to a higher standard. I think that there was a time there was this argument was making the rounds. Telegram is so secure, you cannot trace a lot of things. They also have a wallet. Well, I'm not a guru. I'm glad I started off by saying I'm not a guru in computer science. I'm not a guru in social media analytics. I can only tell you what I discovered personally. Personally, what I discovered is there's regulation on Facebook as regards pornography. On X too, even though sometimes they still come to, but on Telegram, it just goes. The regulation there is not up to standard at all, and they need to do better, especially as regards that. Let me not go further into other parts, which I may not really have the competence to delve into. Let me just talk about the one I observed, which is the excess proliferation of, pornography. No matter the age, it just moves, it just goes, it just makes the rounds. So that's my problem with Telegram. Thank you very much for all your comments. I don't know how I'm going to get this. My host, sir, can you still hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, Mr. Amina.
Yes, I don't know how I can get these mails. Or can you, I sent you this, can you send that file, that presentation to these mails? Is it
Yes, sir.
possible?
We'll work that out. We're doing that already.
Okay.
Trying to collate all the mails.
Or, okay, you're doing that already. Okay,
Yes.
Very well, please. Thank you. Any other question, please? Thank you so much for all your lovely comments. I'm grateful. I've seen someone say this should be what an award of CPD. That's for lawyers for the purpose of licensing for practice next year. Unfortunately, we were not approved. My host, were we approved by the section on legal practice or continuing legal education? Were we approved to award CPD points?
Let me confirm that first.
I'm not sure where. I think we should work on that. This is actually a very good one.
Actually, it's not approved. It's not approved.
Yes. But that's a very good suggestion. Maybe my host should work on that. If this is approved by the Council for Continuing Legal Education, it will be good.
Okay, we will discuss with the management on that.
Very well. So I don't see any further questions. All right. What are some effective strategies for identifying and mitigating misinformation on social media? Okay. How can individuals protect themselves from online defamation and what legal recourse is available? What role do social media platforms play in regulating online content and how can they balance free speech with user protection? Okay. Can you share examples of successful campaigns on or initiatives that have combated misinformation or promoted online safety? This is one of them. This is one of them. How can attendees apply the knowledge gained from this webinar to their personal life, personal or professional lives? Okay, let me start from that number 5 and see how I can work myself up. How can attendees apply the knowledge gained from this webinar to their personal or professional lives? I think that's how I closed the session off. I said you have to think. Let me try and get that up the way I put it there. Do you mind sharing it? Because, excuse me, please. That should be the chief takeaway from this. Because you would think, what am I posting? That should be your chief takeaway. From now, what you have been able to do is to, bring your focus to the risks which you face under the Cybercrimes Act 2015. You have been able to enlighten you on your legal obligations. So your takeaway from this is when you are making your next post, when you are sharing your next tweet, when you are sharing the next content on WhatsApp, you think first, what is this post achieving? Is this post defamatory? Is this post not a form of disinformation? Is this post not a form of misinformation? Am I opening myself up to any legal risks under the Cybercrimes Act? So that is definitely a takeaway from this meeting. My host, do you agree with me? Does any other person have any contribution?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you, Mr. Miller.
Yes, so for number 4, I would say this is one of the campaigns. By this campaign now, by this webinar, what are we doing? We are simply telling you, oh, be careful, do not misinform the public. Do not disinform the public. So this is a campaign. Is this successful? It depends on the actions you take after now. So help us. Let this campaign be successful. So this is one of the things that this comes readily to mind. What role do social media platforms play in regulating online content? They do a lot. They do a lot. They regulate a lot. They regulate speech a lot. They regulate a lot. For example, there are certain words that get you shadow banned on Facebook, on TikTok. Words like kill, beat, rape, murder. Certain content will be flagged. They also flag misinformation too. On X, Twitter, formerly Twitter. It allows users to add context to whatever information you are sharing. So these platforms are actually doing a lot. Although I think they can do better. I also think they have to balance this with free speech. I mean, that is a never-ending debate. That's a never-dying debate. Forever and ever we'll continue to have that debate. You must always continue to balance these rights. One person's right, balance it to another person's right. Your right to have a walking stick ends where my right to have a nose starts from. So because you have a walking stick does not mean you just throwing your walking stick about. And you eventually hit me on my nose. Right? So that is just it. This is a debate that will never end. We'll continue to have it. It is that debate. It is balancing the attempt to balance that is what gives rise to a developed society. How can individuals protect themselves from online defamation? Well, what can you do to protect yourself from online defamation? I think the reason why anything goes in Nigeria is because people are not really standing up for their rights. I think that is one thing that Senate claims have against us. In Senate claims, if I have a right, I enforce my right. Another person is watching, and when they see that this law has been enforced, I have gone ahead to enforce my rights, even if I gain 10 naira from it. Another person will take a lesson from there. So what can you do to protect yourself? Look for a way to implement your rights. Emphasize your rights. Enforce your rights. So somebody has defamed you. Don't leave the fight to God. Don't leave the fight to God. Stand up and enforce your rights. By enforcing your rights, yeah, indirectly protecting your neighbor. Because somebody that was planning to also defame your neighbor will call himself to question and not defame your neighbor again. So do that, and then the society will thank you for it. Legal recourse, of course. Let's go to court. Damages, like I emphasized before, damages readily available, and legally, defamation is both a crime and a civil action. It can give rise to a civil action. So you can pursue it from both ends. Then you also have the Cyber Crimes Act, which could also enforce. Cyber Crimes Act is creating crimes. You can set off the machinery of justice against the person that defamed you, against the person that is harassing you, against the person that is intimidating you online. So what are some effective strategies for identifying? How do I identify? Verify. Verify. How do you mitigate misinformation on social media? Unfortunately, I think I missed this slide. One of the key qualities of the social media as a marketplace is that once you set fire, it is very hard to control. In fact, there's something called the streisand effect. The more you try to quench the fire on social media, the more it is gaining notoriety. Right? So more often than not, the misinformation is always out there. For instance, if I ask anybody that knows Patricia Ite, the first female speaker of the House of Representatives, if I ask you, what information do you have on that lady? Oh, you say she was convicted for corruption. You will say she's a thief. Why? Because at what point she was accused of corruption? Of course, she was arraigned. But of course, she was discharged and acquitted. But social media will never hear of the part that she was discharged and acquitted. But the part that she was accused of corruption remains. In fact, she was convicted in the court of public opinion. So this is a big issue. Mitigating misinformation is very difficult because once you put it out there, it goes, it flies. Before you know it is in India. You cannot go to India and stop it. There was one time that, the sex tape of Tiwa Savage leaked. And then I think 2 years or 3 years or 5, I don't know the number of years after, she came out and said she has taken steps to delete it from the internet. And what did that do? That that relieved the sex step. Because trust Nigerians and trust social media people. I have the video. I still have it. If you need it, let me share. I mean. So the more you try to mitigate the misinformation, the more it is spreading like wildfire. It's a characteristic of the social media, the negative characteristic of social media as a marketplace. That is why we must fight against misinformation and disinformation in the marketplace, because once you start it, it is very hard to combat it. So thank you so much for that question. It was very engaging. Any other question? All right, my host. That is where I will leave it with you. Oh, sorry, another thing I had promised to. Yes. Who is Samsung SM? Okay, that's someone's phone. Please, who is that? You are the only person. Okay. I see people actually tried. I owe 3 people. Samsung SMAO55F. Please, if you can message me, I would love to do some giveaway. Andy, some giveaway for you, and Itoro Akwanta. I would also love to do a giveaway for you for attempting our quiz. Are you still in this meeting? I hope they are still in this meeting. Let me write down. My host, please. My host.
I'm with you, sir.
Please, I will need these persons. I'll need to get these persons.
I already sent the person a DM, but there was no reply. But I was able to deduce the person's name from the mails sent.
Okay, fine. Please.
Yes.
I'll reach out to you, or let the person reach out to me. My mail. Maybe I should share my mail.
Okay, sir.
So that we can communicate from there. I have a giveaway for these persons.
Okay, no problem.
This is my mail. I have dropped my mail. So contact me for your giveaway via my mail. You can share if you are no longer in the meeting, feel free to share my mail with them. Let them contact me for their giveaway.
We'll do just that.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that wonderful section. Please, do we still have other questions? Okay. In the absence of none, we want to say a very big thank you once again to Mr. Emine. Thank you so much for answering our call and for delivering this awesome piece to us. I'm very sure every one of us has picked one or two things that we do not have an idea about before. But after this webinar, I'm sure we've been able to, we've been enlightened, and I'm sure we will not make this mistake in the nearest future. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Emine. We really appreciate your response to this call. So I would like to pass over to the managing partner.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, my learned colleagues present. Good afternoon to our facilitator in person of Emine. Thank you so much for being a part of her bi-monthly webinar. It's fantastic to have you here. We've learned a lot from this session, and I'm sure that the participants here can say the same. From the questions asked, from the comments and all, we really appreciate your time shared with us. Like I was saying to the media team members, that we will still have to do this session all over again because it's quite enlightening and knowledge-filled. So therefore, as we come to the end of this session, I hope that everything we've learned and we've noted that has resonated with us, we'll be able to go back to our personal spaces and make sure that we work towards everything we've learned and also have things to avoid. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. So basically at Daniel Chambers, we like to, aside from what we dish out in terms of content virtually, we on our social media platforms, we hope that our webinars would also serve as a more detailed educative platform for participants and some of our followers, clients to learn more and also to also know the things to avoid. So we hope that we've been able to fulfill that mission of creating a platform for people to learn more about the law and the areas of law that we pick. So if you know that you have a topic in mind that you would like us to do in our next bi-monthly webinar, you can send it to the comments so that we can take note of it and cast a vote as regards that. Till the next bi-monthly meeting, we hope to see you and you get to invite someone to also be a part of the learning curve. You can reach out to us on our social media platforms if you have any questions, and you can actually reach out to Mr. Emine on the email. He's going to send the slides to you, and also we can also send the slides depending on who sends first. We are collecting the emails shared, and we hope that latest tomorrow you get the slides. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar, and I want to appreciate one of our partners, the representative of Neuro, in person of Mr. Segun Alabi. Thank you for all that you do for Daniel Chambers. Even though we have to stress you, you have to work all through the night to make sure that we have certain things done today. I want to appreciate my other esquires in the house, the likes of Pio Ogutono, the likes of Odi Ogutono and Ho. I don't know who this ESQ is. I want to believe that this ESQ came from Mr. Emine. I want to appreciate
I
you.
actually have a lot of people from my end.
Yes, I
I
understand.
thank them too.
So
I
maybe
thank them
that's
too for joining
this
me.
ESQ is one of your people, because our people understand that they have to join with their names, and I'm sure that the Samsung person is either from you or one of our colleagues in the office. And to Robert Halter, thank you for joining in. It's been a long time, and on a short notice, you still find time to join. Thank you to AM Events for being a part of our webinar. Galaxy X8, I'm not sure I know the person. Otto Abasi, thank you for joining in. And to Mr. Emine, thank you for making sure that some of your contacts join in. To Michael Joseph, thank you for joining in. And to the media team, the technical team, we sincerely appreciate the efforts put together to make this webinar happen. We hope that we'll continue to dish out the best of the knowledge to everyone. See you next month. We love you so much at Daniel Chambers, and we look forward to doing more for our clients and for our prospective clients. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.
So we have come to the end of the webinar. Till next bi-monthly webinar, we wish you all the best and have a fantastic July coming. Thank you. Thank you to Madam Latifat Adeniran. Thank you so much, my dearest friend, for being a part of this webinar. And I'm sure that some of my other friends joined in at some point or the other. I know that we all are busy, but thank you so much for staying true and so daring. Thank you. Have a fantastic evening and happy New Month in advance.